Yeah, I just got done listening to this. I thought it was interesting. This happened on the 10th, somewhere in Lakeland, Florida. It's about three guys. Two of them was teenagers. One was 13. The other one was 14. The oldest guy was 19. The oldest guy's name was Jermaine Julian. The youngest, his name is Wesley. I think Dalmas. And then the last guy's name is Leonard Spett. Anyway, this is what ended up happening. Sometime at like 5 something. All three of them was on some type of mission, right? They was looking for somebody, whoever, for whatever reason. The police don't got all the information yet, but they was looking for somebody to shoot at, or to shoot. They found the person, they shot at him. The person somehow got away. Another police officer that was in the area heard the shots, responded to it. All three of them guys was in a white vehicle. I forget what type of vehicle it was. The police pulled up to them. They panicked. They tried to get away. They got in the car, sped off. No. They tried to get in the car. They were getting ready to speed off, and then they just continued to panic, and then just suddenly got out the car. The car is still moving. Two of them ran off. One of them, which is the youngest, ran in the opposite direction toward the police officer. So whatever the maneuver that they normally do, I forget the name, where they kind of like corner a person in. Usually they do it to cars. That's what they tried to do on this guy. Okay, as far as like the footage that was shown on the camera on this video, you can see dude running past the car on the left side of the car as the car is trying to jam him in against the wall or the gate or whatever. Anyway, so then as far as his press conference, they showed the second video. In the second video, you can see the police officer chasing the guy that ran off, the youngest guy, the one that ran in his direction. So, dude, Wesley, that's his name. He ran on the side of some building, and then he ran around the corner. Now, you can see through the little Axon video on the cop made a right, and when you made a right, you could see it on the camera view. The young dude, he turned around, shot at him some more. That's when he ended up shooting him in the foot, and then he got away. So as the dude got away, he ran to another building. He said he ran in the cut somewhere in some bushes. That's when another officer seen him. Now, that officer is the Lakeland officer. Whatever. The second officer seen him. The guy Wesley actually had to drop on the officer, as the sheriff explains, because he was saying like he could have hit him he could have shot the officer with a headshot, and the officer would not have been prepared to readily respond. But for whatever reason, as he had to drop on the officer, that's when he ran out from behind the bushes to try to get away. The officer seen him, and gunfire was exchanged. The young dude shot 3 times the officer. I don't know how many times the officer shot at him, but he hit him 3 times. Once in the leg, once in the thigh, and then another time in the stomach. The other 2 guys ended up getting arrested later on. Overall, 2 guns was found. 2 9mm or whatnot. Now, the reason why I'm doing this recording, because as far as the sheriff, right, not the police chief, the Lakeland chief, like this guy right here that's talking right now, I agree with everything he's saying, except one thing, which is the weed. But first, I'm going to speak on this portion, why I agree with everything else he's saying. Okay. I believe if this guy in particular, because I'm sure I'm not the only person that agrees with him, but if he was of a certain ilk, I'm going to use that word. Based on what he's talking about with the media, I would say if he was a different type of person, he would call them squares. You know what I'm saying? He's extremely heated. I think like he feel like, okay, he's on the ground, he sees what goes on. These people kind of like, trying to, I guess euphemize the situation about blocking out their faces. It's kind of like he feel like they're not painting an accurate picture of how seriousness that situation and everything that occurred on the ground is, and the potential danger that anybody else who knows or these people cross paths with as far as these three individuals. The danger that they can be, that they are in and not know it. Because to be that fucking young and engaged in a fight like that is extremely problematic. You know what I'm saying? To civility. That's the light way to put it. But basically, like these as he said, hardcore criminals. I agree with that. It's like I was saying, as far as if he was of a certain type of ilk, he'll be responding to the media, calling them fucking green. That's what he'll be saying. He'll be saying like they wet behind the ears, they don't know anything. You know, they kind of like not taking it as serious as it actually is. He'll probably be like, have any of them ever been close to a gun that's fired before? I can tell you, them shits is fucking loud. I've been to a shooting range. Now, first off, to be that young and after getting in the first firefight with a police officer, of course, he's still experiencing some type of fight. But to be that young and actually run to another building and hide in the corner, he had to have had a certain level of calm. I've seen these videos over and over again. A lot of people, and these are grown motherfuckers, you know, they end up giving in halfway through. I'm not going to use the word coward or none of that. They just give in halfway through. You would think after the initial gunfight, like a lot of times, like when you look at all three of them, when they first jumped into the white car and tried to speed off and just panic and just decided to just scatter, and two of them ran in the opposite direction that Wesley ran in. Like when you look at situations like that, normally, like with right then and there, that's when most people give up. You know what I'm saying? Even if it linger a little longer, they normally give up. For this guy to have that fucking shootout and then run to another building and remain like still in some bushes somewhere, actually see the cop before the cop see him, to not even shoot first is telling, in my opinion, like right there in the moment. That means regardless of whatever decision he made and whatever that he's fucking pondering in his head right there in those split seconds, he still had enough calm there. He had enough stillness there. This dude only 14 years old. Now, that's not to brag about. That's just something serious. I think that's what that sheriff is speaking to. The only thing that I disagree with him saying is that how he tried to paint marijuana. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was like, this drug that everybody perceives to be so fucking benign or harmless or whatever. He was like, this is the drug that they were smoking before all that happened. This is they sat in the car, they was riding around, they got high before they started to shoot at this unidentified person or persons that nobody know about so far. And he didn't say anything like, even though all of them are caught and they still in the early stages, I'm going to assume that some type of drug test was done and nothing else came up in their systems except marijuana. So I'm going to give him that. But he was saying, like, you know, this little supposed low effect type of drug, this is what the hell they were smoking before they even started shooting. So he's kind of like implying that they played a part. The reason I disagree with that, because that's incidental on their part. That's people smoke weed to do all types of stuff. All kinds of people. People smoke weed when they go to work. They smoke when they get off. I work a lot of freaking warehouse jobs. I can tell you, during breaks, people smoke weed. You know what I'm saying? And these shorties, except for the 19-year-old dude, Julian or whatnot. So I don't think them smoking weed, I don't think that weed itself was a catalyst at all in no type of degree. You know, I don't think it's, I'm put it like this. They may have smoked it before they did what they did because it makes them feel like in their heads they feel more comfortable. But at the same time, I don't think it's a. I don't think to them it was a mental necessity. That's why I call it incidental. They would have done that without the weed. You know what I'm saying? People, I don't think the weed was a determining factor in the choices that they made. As far as everything else he said, I agree with it. So I just wanted to speak on this. I just thought it was an interesting story. I thought I'd just go ahead and give my opinion real quick. Keep it real brief. But yeah, check this out when y'all get a chance to.
They've all had violations of probation because they don't pay attention.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to say one more thing real quick, since I brought it up, the shooting range. If you go to a shooting range, it is extremely loud, and the guns that they normally use are mostly like Glocks and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Different types of Glocks and things like that. Handguns for the most part. But it is loud. It's so loud that they still put like an earpiece in so you could, you know, so it can mitigate the sound, I guess. But it's still freaking loud. Now, skip all the other stuff like, yeah, when people get into it or shootouts happen, they don't got this on they don't got that type of stuff in their ears, or when people at war. I understand all that. The whole point is, for the majority of people who have never been around gunshots, especially that close, it is extremely loud to the point where if you ever go to a shooting range for the first time, you're going to experience some type of startle, like you're going to be startled to a degree. You are. You know what I'm saying? Because it's loud. So imagine like a 13 or 14-year-old being in a situation like that and actually shooting the gun. So you get the experience, the full effect of it, including the sound itself. There's no mitigating factors around. And you in a moment of fright. And then you continue and you do not give in. A lot of people that been back and forth before, like the videos I've seen, a lot of them have previous records. Now these are shorties, so I agree with what this guy is saying. And like I say, to be close to a gun like that, and like if you have experience, just consider the ages of these shorties. You know what I'm saying? That is crazy. So yeah, I don't think the guy is racist either. You know what I'm saying? I just think like, again, he just feel like he more like he bear witness it more so than everybody else that's reporting on it. That's why they kind of like trying to blurt out the faces and talking about their age, and he's saying like their actions show that they're transcendent of their age to an extent. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I'm gonna make this brief. I ain't gonna go into all the global examples and all that. But yeah, I just agree with everything. I agree with everything he's saying except the weed portion. That's all right. I mean, that's about it. But yeah, this is an interesting ass video though.